The promise fulfilled. For decades, God's promise seemed impossible. Then Sarah held her son, Isaac. His name means he laughs. Genesis 21. The voice in the night. God spoke to Abraham, "Take your son, your only son, and offer him as a burnt offering." No argument, only silence. Genesis 22, 1-2. Rising before dawn. Early the next morning, Abraham rose. No delay, no hesitation spoken aloud. Just quiet, immediate obedience. Genesis 22:3. Splitting the wood. With his own hands, Abraham split the wood. Wood meant for the fire that would take his son's life. Genesis 22:3. Setting out. He saddled the donkey, gathered his servants, and took Isaac. Then he set out for the place God had named. Genesis 22:3. The long road. 3 days of walking, 3 days of silence. Long enough to change his mind 1,000 times. But he never did. Genesis 22:4. The mountain in the distance. On the third day, Abraham lifted his eyes. The mountain was waiting. It had been waiting the whole time. Genesis 22:5. Leaving the servants behind. "Stay here," Abraham told his servants. "The boy and I will worship, and then we will come back to you." Genesis 22:5. Climbing together. Wood on Isaac's back. Fire and knife in Abraham's hand. Father and son climbed the mountain together. Genesis 22:6. "Where is the lamb?" "Father?" Isaac asked. "The fire and wood are here, but where is the lamb?" A question with no easy answer. Genesis 22:7. God himself will provide. Abraham answered simply, "God himself will provide the lamb." And the two of them walked on together. Genesis 22:8. Preparing the stones. At the place God showed him, Abraham built the altar, stone by stone, with the same hands that raised his son. Genesis 22:9. A quiet moment. Abraham bound Isaac and laid him on the altar, on top of the wood. No struggle, no final words recorded. Genesis 22:9. A frozen moment. Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. The whole story balanced on this single second. Genesis 22:10. The voice from heaven. "Abraham, Abraham," the angel cried. "Do not lay a hand on the boy. Now I know you fear God." Genesis 22:11-12. The ram in the thicket. Abraham looked up, caught by its horns in a thicket, a ram, provided at the exact moment it was needed. Genesis 22:13. A new offering. Abraham took the ram and offered it in his son's place. The knife did not fall. The promise did not die. Genesis 22:13. A quiet reflection. Abraham named that place, "The Lord will provide." A promise now proven true, carved into memory and into the ground itself. Genesis 22:14. The second word from heaven. Because Abraham did not withhold his son, the promise was renewed. Descendants like the stars, like the sand on the shore. Genesis 22:15-19. The journey home. Abraham returned to his servants, and they went back together to Beersheba, exactly as he had said they would. Genesis 22:19. Closing. Moral, prayer, call to action. This story is about the space between hearing God and understanding Him. Real trust is tested exactly where it costs the most. Lord, give me faith that obeys before it understands. Remind me you have never once failed to provide. Amen. If this story moved you, tell us in the comments which Bible story you'd like next, and subscribe so you don't miss it.